So in the future, there will be the Burger King entry-level jobs that are $80 to $100,000 salary, and it's gonna be possible, but it's not gonna be the same environment you think it's gonna be. For one, it's gonna be different work environment where right now you might have 4 or 5 employees, one of them being the manager managing the other 4 employees as well as working part of the restaurant. But in the future, you're gonna have one employee, which is a technician, maybe two as a backup, but it's gonna be definitely one technician, and that's it. No need for manager because there's no manager needed there's no employees to manage. Just be that one technician to making sure it's not to make sure the Burger King is operating correctly. And it's not gonna be even a restaurant anymore. It's gonna be a food dispensary where you're gonna have Burger King food dispensaries, multiple locations, replacing what you have currently right now with our restaurants, and they're gonna make automating the process of making the food, kind of like how you have coffee makers right now, or coffee dispensaries, where you can put a quarter in there and you get a dispensary of a coffee, a different type. You put a mocha latte, frappuccino. It does it all yourself. Dispensary. Well, that's in the future is going to be these food dispensary as well. They're just gonna make the food, heat it, and give it to you in a package. Well, possibly that actually can even reduce the price of a burger or maintain the price of the burger because remove the cost of labor. So now you gotta think about how do I become that Burger King technician? You're not trying to be a entry level burger flipping. No, you gotta have more skill sets, more requirements, more knowledge and experience that they're confident that you're going to be able to not just maintain that one location but multiple, because that's the only way I can see that being profitable with Burger King is that they have to have multiple locations, but these vending or these food dispensary locations, multiple places, and there's no point in having a technician in every single one when these machines are going to be very reliable themselves. There's just going to be sometimes there are going to be some error codes or warnings that may request technicians to go in to verify something is not going to go wrong. Right now we have this a lot during in the technical industry. Like if we have automation test situations where we're running tests and they run hours at a time. And sometimes, most of the time, the technicians are there to gather information, but then also they're also there during the 8 hours of test automation testing to make sure if something goes wrong, they are there to fix it. They're there to debug it, repair it, and then rerun the tests so that the test automation continues. The technician doesn't actually do the testing. The test technician will just making sure the test is working properly, and then get the data need to be processed. So now we'll take that the to the Burger King where these technicians aren't going to be handling the food. All that designed already by some engineers at, at another company that's selling these food dispensaries machines. No, what they're going to be doing is making sure all the error codes are checked. Maybe making sure those machines are working properly, maintenance is done properly, and make calls to contractors to come in to repair it if needed. But they're not going to be actually making any food. They're not. I mean, to make $80,000 to $100,000 a year salary, it's only going to be possible if they're not spending the time cutting the food. If they're cutting the food, that they're not going to be able to. Their work output is not going to equate to $80,000 an hour, $80,000 a yearly salary. It's just not. The output's just not there. People are not going to pay for food that costs that much in order for them to pay the workers that salary. But what is going to work is if you have a technician that's making sure the machines that is cutting the food, that is preparing the food, that is cooking the food, is working properly, so that the economic output of that technician or Burger King technician equates to at least $80,000 to $100,000 salary, and as opposed to someone who flips a burger who's like, well, if you flip, how many burgers can you flip to make money? That had to pay for your wages, your tax, your income tax, your salary, your workers' comp, and there are other costs that included for each employee. As opposed to saying, you know what, I'll hire just one technician, and the technician takes care of everything else. That's how you can get an $80,000 to $100,000 entry level technician. Except that's entry level. It's gonna be very difficult to get, as it is right now. Very difficult to get entry level job in the technical field. Just gonna be difficult to get an entry level job in the food dispensary field as well, because you're gonna have to have some background knowledge how that machine works, or at least an aptitude to know how to use it or how to maintain it. Uh, and that's gonna that's gonna potentially increase the barrier of entry for many people. And I guess I'll talk about that when I talk about the increase the barrier of entry when he constantly increases the minimum wage. It's not increasing wages. It's increasing the barrier of entry. I'll talk about that later.